Picture this nightmare unfolding in real time. You're sitting in your quiet living room, heart full of hope, dialing your only son to ask the one question every mother dreams of asking. When's the wedding, honey? I can't wait to be there. The phone picks up. Your daughter-in-law's face fills the screen. She looks straight into your eyes, flashes the coldest, most chilling smile you've ever seen, and drops these four words like poison. We already got married yesterday. We only invited special people. Boom. The world stops. Your breath catches. Your chest tightens like someone just punched you square in the soul. Only special people. 4 words. That's all it took to shatter 71 years of love, sacrifice, and blind devotion. My name is Renata Richter. I live in a small town outside Chicago. I'm a 71-year-old widow. My husband Robert passed 15 years ago, leaving me enough to live comfortably in my retirement, if I chose to spend it on myself. Instead, for the last 3 years, every single dollar went to my son Max and his wife Lena. $500 rent payment every month, automatic transfer, never late. Every piece of furniture in there. 2-bedroom apartment, couch, dining table, bed, TV, paid in full by me. When their fridge was empty, I drove 20 miles to the grocery store, loaded up my cart, and delivered it to their door. Lena's emergency doctor visits, the car repair, the $1,200 living room set, even the $800 she begged for last month. For personal stuff, which turned out to be her wedding dress, I covered it all. I skipped my own doctor appointments, ate canned soup for dinner, and watched my savings shrink, because I believed that's what a good mother does. I believed family comes first. And I had the perfect pale pink mother of the groom dress hanging in my closet, $200, plus matching shoes. I'd spent weeks picturing myself in those photos, standing proud beside my boy on his big day. I'd even set aside $1,000 cash as a wedding gift, wrapped in silver paper, waiting for the moment. I'd called my sister Diana in the city, gushing, Max is getting married. Can you believe it? I'd scrubbed my house from top to bottom, thinking they'd come over after the ceremony for cake and coffee and hugs. All of it gone. Erased. In one sentence. We only invited special people. I stood there, phone in hand, feeling like the floor had dropped out from under me. Max wouldn't meet my eyes. He stared at the carpet like it was the most interesting thing in the world. Lena lounged back on the sofa I'd bought them, legs crossed, looking smug and satisfied. The silence was deafening. Special people. Me, the woman who drained her retirement account so they never had to worry about a bill, wasn't special. I was just the ATM with feelings. My stomach twisted so hard I thought I might throw up right there. I could feel the blood drain from my face. The room started spinning. For a split second, I truly believed my heart might stop. Then Max mumbled something lame. Mom, it was just a small thing, intimate. Just us and the witnesses. His voice sounded rehearsed, fake, like he'd practiced it in the mirror. I didn't believe a word. I'd already seen the truth. Before I even walked out of their apartment, I pulled up Instagram on my phone. There they were, dozens of stories and posts. Lena's mom and dad beaming next to the bride and groom. Her siblings raising champagne glasses. The venue decorated beautifully. Lena in that stunning white dress, the one I'd unknowingly helped pay for. Everyone laughing, hugging, celebrating. And me. Not a single photo. Not even a mention. I wasn't there. I didn't exist. I drove home in total silence. No radio. No tears yet. Just pure, cold shock. When I finally walked through my front door, the weight hit me all at once. I sank onto the bed and Stared at the pink dress still hanging in the closet like a cruel joke. 7 days later, exactly 1 week after that gut punch, my phone rang. It was Lena. Her voice was completely different now. No more confidence. No more attitude. She sounded small, scared, on the edge of tears. Renata, the rent's overdue. 2 months behind. The landlord says if we don't pay by Friday, we're out on the street. You always make the transfer. Please, we need it today. I'm begging you. I didn't answer right away. I let the silence stretch, long enough for her to feel it. Long enough for her to remember who'd been carrying them all this time. Then, calm as I've ever been, I spoke the words that changed everything. Didn't I warn you? I only help special people. The line went dead. Silent. I could hear her breathing hitch, like she'd been slapped. She tried to recover. Renata, what? I don't. You've always been like a second mom to me. Second mom. The same. Second mom you excluded from the biggest day of your life. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just hung up. That moment marked the end of one chapter, and the beginning of a war I never thought I'd have to fight. We only invited special people. My son's secret wedding excluded me after I paid for everything. So I cut them off forever. The escalation, the day they came for control. After that phone call, the silence from their side lasted exactly 3 days. 3 days of peace I hadn't known in years. No frantic texts. No emergency calls at midnight. No guilt-tripping voicemails. Just me, my coffee, my garden, and the strange new feeling of breathing without someone else's weight on my chest. Then, on the 4th day, they showed up. Unannounced. 3 cars in my driveway at 2:17 p.m. on a Tuesday. Max's beat-up SUV, Lena's little hatchback, and a shiny black sedan I didn't recognize. I watched from the kitchen window as they piled out. Max looked nervous, hands shoved in his pockets. Lena was pacing like a caged cat. And then there was the third man, mid-50s, grey suit, briefcase, fake friendly smile. He carried himself like someone who gets paid to make problems disappear, or create them for other people. I didn't open the door right away. I let them knock. Once. Twice. Louder the 3rd time. When I finally opened it, I didn't smile. I didn't invite them in. I just stood there, arms crossed, blocking the doorway like a human deadbolt. Renata, thank God, Lena started, voice dripping with fake concern. We've been so worried about you. The man in the suit stepped forward, hand extended. Mrs. Richter, I'm Dr. Fisher. I'm a family law attorney. Your son and daughter-in-law are very concerned about your well-being. I didn't shake his hand. I looked past him to Max. Concerned. About what, exactly? Max shifted his weight. Mom. We went to the bank. They told us you cancelled all the automatic transfers. Mr. Klein said you blocked our access to your accounts. We don't understand why you do that. Why? I repeated the word slowly, like I was tasting it. Because for 3 years I paid your rent, your furniture, your food, your emergencies. I gave you $33,400 for my husband's inheritance and my savings. And in return, you got married in secret and told me I wasn't special enough to be invited. Lena's eyes flashed. It wasn't like that. It was small. Intimate. We didn't want to make a big deal. Stop. I cut her off. I saw the photos. Your whole family was there. Champagne. Toasts. Everyone except the woman who financed the dress you're wearing in those pictures. Dr. Fisher cleared his throat, the professional mediator act kicking in. Mrs. Richter, your children believe you may be under a great deal of stress. Sudden changes in financial behavior, isolating yourself, installing security cameras. These can be signs of something deeper. They've asked me to assess the situation and, if needed, prepare documents for a temporary power of attorney. Just to help manage things until you feel better. Power of attorney. There it was. The real reason they came. Not to apologize. Not to make things right. To take control. To declare me unfit so they could keep the money flowing, without me having a say. I felt something cold and hard settle in my chest. Not anger yet. Just clarity. Absolute. Razor-sharp clarity. I'm not signing anything, I said quietly. And you're not coming inside. Max's face twisted. Mom, come on. We're worried about you. You're acting strange. Cutting us off like this. It's not normal. Not normal. I echoed. What's not normal is a 35-year-old man and his wife treating their mother like a walking ATM, then excluding her from their wedding, and now trying to legally take over her finances because the ATM stopped dispensing. Lena started crying then. Big, dramatic tears. Renata, please. We love you. Your family. Everything you have will be ours one day anyway. We're just trying to speed things up so we can all be secure. There it was. The naked truth, slipping out in her desperation. In their minds, I was already dead. They were just collecting early. I took a step back and pointed to the street. Get off my property. All of you. Dr. Fisher tried one more time. Mrs. Richter, we have prepared some documents. I didn't let him finish. I reached into the side table by the door, pulled out the folder I'd been keeping, and dropped it on the porch between us. Bank statements. Transfer records. Every $500 rent payment. Every grocery receipt. Every emergency wire. $33,400 in black and white. Read it, I said. Then leave. And if you ever come back without an invitation, I'll call the police. Max's jaw dropped. Lena's tears stopped instantly. Dr. Fisher picked up the folder like it was radioactive. They stood there for a long moment, stunned. Then they turned and walked back to their cars. No more words. Just the sound of doors slamming and engines starting. I closed my front door. Locked it. Deadbolt. Chain. And for the first time in years, I felt the house belonged to me again. That night I couldn't sleep. Not from sadness. From adrenaline. From the realization that they weren't going to stop. This was just the beginning. The next morning I called Mr. Weber, an elderly rights attorney my late husband had used years ago. He listened to the whole story without interrupting. When I finished, he said only one thing. Mrs. Richter, what your son and daughter-in-law are doing is elder financial abuse. It's a crime. And we're going to document every second of it. We spent the next 2 hours going over everything. He told me to change the locks immediately, install cameras, open a new bank account at a different branch, and most importantly, start living for myself. I hung up, walked to the hardware store, and for the first time in years, I spent money on me. New deadbolts. A full security system with motion sensors and app alerts. The owner, Mr. Summers, raised an eyebrow. Another fix for your son's place. No, I told him. This time it's for mine. To keep people out who don't belong. His son Ethan installed everything the same day. When the last camera was up, he handed me the app on my phone. You'll see everything. And if anyone tries to get in without permission, the police get an automatic alert. I looked at the screen. My front porch, my driveway, my garden. All mine. Protected. As Ethan drove away, my phone buzzed. A text from Max. Mom, please. We need to talk. We're sorry about the wedding. Let's fix this. I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. Blocked the number. Blocked Lena's too. The war wasn't over. It was just getting started. The new locks clicked shut like a promise to myself. The cameras were live, feeding straight to my phone. Every angle of my house, front porch, driveway, backyard, watched 24/7. For the first time in decades, my home felt like a fortress instead of an open wallet. I started small acts of rebellion. I made coffee just for me. I read the newspaper cover to cover without checking my phone for their latest crisis. I called my sister Diana in Chicago and told her the truth for the first time. No sugarcoating, no bragging about how generous I'd been. She cried on the phone. Renata, I've waited years for you to see what they were doing. Every time we talked, it was Max needs this or Lena needed that. Never once did you say how you felt. Her words hurt, but they were the good kind of hurt. The kind that cleans a wound so it can finally heal. Then came the next attack. It started with a polite knock on a Thursday morning. I checked the camera. A young woman in a blazer, clipboard in hand, official-looking badge. She rang the bell again. I opened the door just enough to speak through the chain. Good morning, Mrs. Renata Richter. She smiled professionally. I'm Ms. Schmidt from the Office of Senior Services. We've received a report concerning your well-being, and we're here for a routine wellness check. My stomach dropped. Wellness check. The government. They'd gone nuclear. I kept my voice steady. Can I see your ID, please? She held it up. Official. Photo. Everything looked legitimate. I'm required to speak with you and make sure you're safe and managing independently. I let her in. Not because I trusted her. Because refusing might make me look like I had something to hide. We sat in the living room. She pulled out a form and started asking questions. Have you made any sudden changes to your finances recently? Have you cut off contact with family? Have you installed security measures that seem excessive? Have you refused medical or legal help from loved ones? Every question was worded like a trap. I recognized Lena's fingerprints all over it. Sweet poison wrapped in concern. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I said, I'd like to call my attorney before we continue. Ms. Schmidt's smile tightened. This isn't a legal matter, Mrs. Richter. It's just a check. If you have nothing to hide. That phrase. If you have nothing to hide. It's the favorite line of every abuser who wants to invade your life. I stood up. I'm calling my lawyer. You can wait here, or you can come back with a court order. Mr. Weber arrived in under 20 minutes. Calm, sharp, carrying a thick folder. He took one look at Ms. Schmidt, checked her ID, and said, I hope you have a warrant, because my client is under legal representation. Any unauthorized investigation at this point is harassment. Ms. Schmidt shifted in her seat. We received reports from concerned family members about her mental state and financial decisions. Mr. Weber placed the folder on the coffee table. Here's the documentation. $33,400 in voluntary transfers over 3 years. Systematic financial support followed by exclusion from family events, emotional manipulation, and now attempts to gain control of her assets. If anyone needs investigating, it's not my client. Ms. Schmidt flipped through the pages. Her face changed, from confident to uncomfortable. She saw the bank records, the dates, the amounts. She saw the truth. After what felt like forever, she closed her folder. Mrs. Richter, based on this conversation and the evidence, I see no immediate risk. I'll close the case. She left. Mr. Weber turned to me. They're escalating. This was their way of building a paper trail. Next could be a formal petition for guardianship. I nodded. I wasn't surprised. Just tired. Tired of being the villain in their story when I'd been the hero for so long. That afternoon, my neighbor Eleanor Brooks stopped by with a homemade pie. She'd heard the commotion through the windows. We sat on the porch swing, something I hadn't done in years. I told her everything. The wedding. The special people. The lawyer visit. The wellness check. Eleanor listened, then said quietly, I went through the same thing with my daughter 5 years ago. I paid her rent, her car, her everything. Thought it was love. Until I realized she only called when she needed cash. When I stopped, she threatened to have me declared incompetent too. Same playbook. What happened? I asked. She got angry. Made a scene. But after a few months, she had to get a job. Her husband stopped golfing every weekend. They learned to stand on their own. And slowly, she started calling just to talk. Not for money. Just to talk. I looked at her. Do you think Max and Lena will ever do that? Eleanor shrugged. Maybe. Maybe not. But that's not your burden anymore. Your job now is to live. That night I did something I hadn't done in years. I went to the cemetery alone. Robert's grave was overgrown. I'd been too busy bailing them out to visit. I sat on the grass, cleaned the headstone with my hands, replaced the dead flowers with fresh ones from my garden. Robert, I whispered. I lost myself for a while. I thought giving everything to Max would make him love me the way you did. But love isn't something you buy. I'm learning that now. And I'm sorry it took me so long. The wind picked up. For the first time, I didn't feel guilty. I felt peaceful. But peace didn't last long. The next week, my phone started blowing up with unknown numbers. I ignored them. Then came the certified letter from family court. Max and Lena had filed a formal petition. They were requesting a judge declare me mentally incompetent and appoint a guardian. Max, of course, to manage my affairs. I read the words 3 times. My own son was trying to legally erase me so he could take what was left. Mr. Weber called that same afternoon. We have a court date in 3 weeks. They're claiming erratic behavior, paranoia, refusal to cooperate with evaluations. We need to prepare. Hard. I hung up and stared at the letter. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about my freedom, my dignity, my right to say no. The morning of the court hearing, I woke up at 5 a.m. sharp. No alarm needed, just pure adrenaline. I stood in front of the mirror in my bedroom, wearing the same black suit I'd worn to Robert's funeral 15 years ago. It still fit perfectly. I looked at the woman staring back, tired eyes, silver hair pulled into a neat bun, wrinkles that told stories of love given and never returned. But there was something new in those eyes. Steel. Determination. I wasn't going to court as a victim. I was going as a survivor. Mr. Weber picked me up at 7:30. He reviewed our strategy in the car. They have the burden of proof. They must show you're incompetent. We just have to prove you're not. Stay calm. Speak clearly. Let the evidence do the talking. The courthouse in downtown Chicago was cold and echoing. We arrived early. In the hallway outside the courtroom, I saw them. Max in a new suit he couldn't afford, probably bought on credit. Lena in black, like she was attending a funeral. Maybe she was. Ours. Their lawyer was older, polished, the kind who wins cases by making the other side look unreasonable. Our eyes met. Max looked away first. Lena held my gaze with pure ice. No remorse. Just calculation. Judge Miller entered at 9 o'clock sharp. A no-nonsense man in his late 60s, known for protecting vulnerable seniors from family greed. He'd seen this before. Max and Lena's lawyer opened strong. Your Honor, Mrs. Renata Richter has exhibited clear signs of mental decline. Abrupt cessation of financial support to her only family, installation of excessive security measures due to paranoia, isolation from loved ones, and refusal to cooperate with medical evaluations. We believe she is being influenced by external parties and request guardianship be granted to her son. Then came their witnesses. Lena went first. She stepped to the stand, eyes already glistening. She cried on cue, perfect tears. Renata has always been like a second mom to me. Lately she's become hostile, paranoid. We just want to help her. She's not herself. Mr. Weber cross-examined. Mrs. Schuster, when was the last time you contacted Mrs. Richter without asking for money? Lena hesitated. We talked about a lot of things. Name a date. Silence. Is it true you married her son in secret and told her on the phone that only special people were invited, excluding the woman who paid for your dress? Lena's face flushed. It was taken out of context. What context makes it acceptable to tell your mother-in-law she's not special? Max was next. Seeing him swear on the Bible to tell the truth while about to lie was one of the hardest moments of my life. He spoke softly, rehearsed. My mom has been generous, but lately she's erratic. We're worried she's being manipulated. Mr. Weber didn't let him off easy. How much money did you receive from your mother in 3 years? I don't have the exact number. Does $33,400 sound accurate? Maybe. How many times did you visit her without asking for money? Long silence. Did you and your wife enter her home without permission and review her private documents? We were concerned. Did you bring a lawyer to pressure her into signing over control of her finances? We wanted to help. Their other witnesses, Mr. Davis, the grumpy neighbor, and the tricked pharmacist, crumbled under cross-examination. One admitted he'd never spoken to me directly. The other confessed Lena had misled him into signing a misleading statement. Then it was our turn. Mr. Weber called my witnesses. My pharmacist corrected the record. Dr. Moore, the independent psychiatrist, presented my flawless cognitive tests. Mrs. Richter's mental capacity is excellent, well above average for her age. Mr. Summers from the hardware store testified I was clear-headed when ordering the locks. Eleanor Brooks and my new garden club friends spoke about my vitality, my clarity, my new life. Finally, I took the stand. My hands didn't shake. My voice was steady. I told the whole story. From the first rent payment to the secret wedding call, the special people words, the lawyer visit, the wellness check, the petition. I laid out the $33,400 in detail. The sacrifices. The humiliation. The betrayal. Mr. Weber asked the final question, why did you stop providing financial support? I looked straight at the judge. Because I finally realized what I was getting back wasn't love. It was a transaction. My money was welcome. I as a person was not. I decided my retirement, my peace, my life belonged to me, not to people who saw me as an obstacle between them and an inheritance. Their lawyer tried to twist it in cross-examination, suggested I was manipulated by neighbors and lawyers. I answered every question with calm precision. When he implied my new friends were taking advantage, I said, for the first time in years, I have relationships based on respect, not on what I can pay for. Closing arguments. Their lawyer painted me as confused, isolated, vulnerable. Mr. Weber destroyed it. This is not a case of dementia. This is a case of a woman who finally stopped funding her own abuse. The petitioners have no medical evidence, only frustration that their free ride ended. Judge Miller deliberated for 2 hours. When he returned, the courtroom was silent. After reviewing all evidence, he began, this court finds Mrs. Renata Richter fully competent. Her decisions are rational and within her rights. The petition for guardianship is denied in its entirety. Case dismissed. I won. I had won. As we left, Lena shot me a look of pure hatred. Max looked broken. For a second, I saw the boy I'd raised. But it was too late for regret. That night, Eleanor threw a small celebration at my house. Pie, coffee, laughter with real friends. Alfreda, the 80-year-old in our group, raised her cup. You didn't just win a case today, Renata. You won back your life. She was right. The day after the judge said denied, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in decades. No weight on my chest. No dread in my stomach. Just quiet. Beautiful, earned quiet. I sold the old house 3 months later. Too many memories in those walls. Good ones from when Max was small, painful ones from the last 3 years. The sale closed fast. I bought a bright, sunny apartment in the city centre. Smaller, but mine. Big windows overlooking the lake. A balcony where I could sit with coffee and watch the sun rise without thinking about who might need money that day. I donated half of what remained to organizations that help elderly people escape financial abuse. Places that provide lawyers, safe housing, support groups. I wish someone like that had found me sooner. The other half. I started spending it on me. Really spending it. No guilt. No second guessing. I took my first real vacation in 25 years. 2 weeks in Italy. Rome. Florence. The Amalfi Coast. I walked cobblestone streets alone, ate gelato at noon, took cooking classes, and cried happy tears in front of the Colosseum because I could finally be somewhere just for myself. When I came home, I started painting again. Watercolors first, then oils. My small spare room became a studio. Flowers, lakes, portraits of strangers I met on my travels. I joined an art class downtown. Met people my age, younger, older. None of them wanted anything from me except conversation and laughter. Eleanor became my closest friend. We had dinner every Sunday. Her daughter visited often, and watching them together, real affection, no strings, reminded me what family could look like. It hurt sometimes, but the hurt softened over time. Max and Lena. I never heard from them directly again. No calls. No texts. No apologies. Through mutual acquaintances, I learned they moved to a smaller place outside the city. Lena got a job, her first full-time one in years. Max picked up extra shifts. They sold the furniture I'd bought and downsized. I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel pity. I just felt done. Some nights I still think about the boy Max used to be, the one who hugged me tight after nightmares, who drew me pictures labeled best mom ever. I wonder where that boy went. I wonder if he ever thinks about me. But wondering doesn't change anything. I've stopped asking questions that have no answers. One evening, about 6 months after the trial, I sat on my balcony with a glass of wine, watching the city lights. The stars were out, clear, bright. I thought about Robert. About the woman I'd been before the sacrifice swallowed me whole. And I smiled. I'd spent years believing love had to be earned, paid for, proved with money, time, endless giving. But real love doesn't come with a price tag. And when it's gone, you don't owe anyone your future. I turned 72 last month. My friends threw a small party, Eleanor, the garden club ladies, my art class group. No one asked me for anything. We just laughed, ate cake, and toasted to new chapters. I still get messages from people who've heard my story, through YouTube, Reddit, word of mouth. Women, and some men, who say, "This happened to me too." Fathers cut off by adult children. Grandparents used as retirement plans. I tell them the same thing every time. You are not a bank. You are not an obligation. You are a person. And your life belongs to you. If you've made it this far, if you've followed every part, felt the anger, the heartbreak, the victory, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring about a 71-year-old widow who finally learned she was special, to herself. If this story moved you, if it made you hug your parents a little tighter or set a boundary you've been avoiding, please hit that subscribe button one last time, turn on notifications, and share this series with someone who needs it. There are so many more stories like this out there. And maybe, just maybe, telling them helps someone else break free. My name is Renata Richter. I'm 72 years old. I was used. I was betrayed. I was almost broken. But I fought. I won. And now, I'm finally living. Thank you for being here until the end. If you ever need to talk about your own story, comment below. I read every single one. You're not alone. With love and strength. Renata, until next time.